Good morning, everybody. Heather Coleman here, intuitive medium and a tarot reader, and also I'm a Reiki and energy work practitioner with some opening messages before we get to the cards. We are currently in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is when basically Mercury laps us on the running track. They're closer to the middle. We could say that. Mercury, 88 days around the sun, 365 for us. Mercury kind of passes us. It appears to be going backward in the sky, happens about 3 times a year. We're in the pre-shadow right now, and we so often hear in these metaphysical circles, like, oh, during Mercury retrograde, we often hear about the things we perceive as frustrating, like maybe lower energy levels, fuzziness, miscommunications, lethargy, all these things. A lot of people say, expect travel delays and don't make big decisions, don't start things. A lot of that it's really pretty negative. So I like to really talk about the positives, and more over time, I notice the positives in my life during retrogrades, and I've already seen one. And I think I think all of you are going to see something like this, maybe more than one thing like this, either during the pre-shadow, which is where we are now, the actual retrograde, or the post-shadow, because the pre-shadow is those few weeks before Mercury goes into retrograde, which is either the 29th or 30th, depending on where you are in the world. What I already had happen, this was so awesome. The other night, I went over to see my mom, and I think this is the first time we've done this since I was a kid. I mean, like middle school age. We put on a CD that my mom used to play all the time when I was a kid, Judy Collins, and we were singing along to it, playing board games, and it was so much fun. And I think this is the first time we've done that combination of things. I think I'm 46, so what, in more than 30 years, okay? That's just an amazing example of the kind of things that can happen if you're open and you go with the flow, right, of Mercury retrograde. Reunions with people, unexpected fun, maybe things that you haven't done since you were very young with people that you care about. So be on the lookout for it. I tend to run into a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, and I love that. And and what else? Oh, the thing I want to say about Mercury retrograde, it really can be a beautiful opportunity to rediscover a part of yourself that you maybe have forgotten or left behind since fill in the blanks, age 6. These are just some. For some of you, age 20, age 17. Maybe at an earlier time in life before certain difficult things happened, right? Sometimes we forget ourselves when life has thrown really tough stuff at us. So this is a great time, especially this particular Mercury retrograde, to get back in touch with that part of yourself that puts you first, that knows how to have fun, and knows what it wants, and doesn't overgive, doesn't fawn, doesn't over people please. Women in particular, sometimes we start doing this to make things work, especially when we're raising kids, right? Or to avoid certain disasters. And a lot of times other people perceive us as being agreeable. We might not be agreeable to things that aren't okay. I mean, I'm talking about toxic things, but sometimes when there are kids involved, we're looking at the bigger picture, right? When other people aren't. So I think a lot of you that have been raising kids or maybe helping family members with children, you've been putting a lot of things aside. You've been waiting on certain things. Whether we're talking about you've been raising your own kids, or you've been heavily involved, maybe kids in your family, something like that, helping someone close to you, a friend, a family member. I really feel like we're the other thing is we're at the end of a phase happening. For some of you, it's 3 years. For some of you, it's 7. For some of you, it's 9. Chiron, the wounded warrior, is finally leaving my sign, Aries. Thank you. Going into Taurus. So we have new themes arising. For many of us, it means we're ending a time of lack, of feeling like we're having to do everything alone. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. I think that's all we have on the astrology at the moment. I've been feeling strongly the pull to wear amber. So I think a lot of you, if you can find a way to have amber around you, whether it's a necklace like I have, a tumbled stone, a bracelet, any way you can have amber around you, maybe a larger stone. Also, labradorite. It doesn't always appear green. I fell in love with this necklace I bought a few years ago because it appears green, but labradorite actually is a lot like my kitten Robbie's eyes. It reflects so many colors back, which is pretty amazing. And you can kind of see that in this. I do think if any of you have been thinking, okay, what stones would be really good for me to work with right now? Labradorite, especially near the heart center, like I have it, is really great because it has grounding properties, which is very good for remaining anchored in your truth, your vision. It's also good for helping to out, reflect out, and to manifest. So, amber and labradorite, for those of you that are thinking about stones. Now, getting into the cards, we're going to have 3 cards from the Archangel Raphael Healing deck. We have another one again, and real true Mercury retrograde energy, right? Some of you already know Doreen Virtue is no longer kind of in this realm of putting out metaphysical products, but I still have quite a few of her decks, which I think are still fabulous tools. Unfortunately, I don't think you can still get this deck. So if you're inclined, you can always take a screenshot or just take notes on these cards. We have organic foods, and the message that I have for you about this, small steps. If you're trying to improve your diet, it might be that you can't do a complete overhaul overnight, and that is okay. Maybe you start with 1 or 2 small changes in your daily routine. You do that for a week, a month, even a year, and then you introduce something else. A great example in my life is I've known for many years now that I'm going to work up to being fully vegetarian, but it's been a very gradual process for me because of other factors, availability of certain things, time limitations, budget concerns. My kids who weren't, they were kind of exposed to certain foods. Like if I was fully vegetarian, I would have just raised them that way, but we weren't. So I don't force them to stop certain things when they're just not going to be able to do that. So what it's looked like for me, I stopped pork like 30 years ago, which was easy to do. I stopped beef several years ago. I'm reducing chicken. So that's how it looks for me. Fish, I would actually eat a bit more if I could, but I want to really look at where the fish is coming from. But again, it's taken years, but I'm getting there. And that's a great example of anything you might be trying to do, whether you're trying to eliminate processed foods. Maybe you reduce one thing at a time if you're kind of like accustomed to eating certain things, right? Maybe you don't need to quit certain things called turkey. So improving your diet a little bit at a time is fine. We've also got this card, which is a strong encouragement to listen to your intuition. Yes. Dear Archangel Raphael, please help me trust my feelings as the accurate barometer of truth. And again, we've got this image. Now, green is often the color of 2 things for today, healing and money. So this beautiful person or angel here feels this sense of responsibility to protect and keep this baby safe with love and money. So again, sometimes, and it's not just women, I meet men who have had to do this if they haven't had the best functioning people around them. For example, I do meet men that have had to deal with toxic people and have raised kids alone. So when I say women, I'm not only talking about women literally. I'm just saying it, numbers wise, you see it a lot with women. A lot of women it's not that they would have necessarily sacrificed so much of themselves to raise kids. That often will happen when their voice has been repeatedly not heard and their needs as women have not been recognized. And so they end up shouldering more than they really should raising kids because they're able to see what the child needs, right? And this is an issue right now in society that is really affecting society. It is going to turn. It's going to take 30 to 50 years. Very interesting message for whoever needs to hear that. I mean, I love hearing it. It's the first time I've delivered it. Yippee. But I really feel like this is important for many of you here today to know that it's going to take 30 to 50 years before we get back to where we could say the workload of raising kids is really shared. And I don't mean just by 2 parents, because that also doesn't work, by the way. I mean by a community, what you might call a tribe, a real group. It's going to take a while before that becomes more common again. This card has many meanings. It could be on that previous topic that just came up just now. We are in a wartime. In fact, my daughter, who's no longer living at home, but she's a very strong medium, about 2 years ago or so, give or take, delivered a message about World War III starting. Welcome to it. We are experiencing and will experience an attempted totalitarian takeover. It ain't going to work, but it's going to be scary. Often it's when we get scared and we push back that we affect the reality of this planet. And I think that the The people who want to see true love, compassion, and nonviolence and equality, we're going to be able to achieve that on our planet. But sometimes in defense, you have to push back. All right. Stay positive. Stay positive on the vision you want for your life and for your world that you're living in. And we're going to stay the course, folks. There are enough of us light workers who know what right from wrong is, who know how people should be treated, who know how animals should be treated. So putting that aside, and I do want to quickly say, just to, in case there are any questions, I am on the road to vegetarian, and I'm not saying that everyone has to be. All I'm saying is that I feel strongly that if you're listening to this video, you believe that animals should be treated humanely. For the record, I'm not saying that animals should never be consumed as food. I am saying that we all have a responsibility to look at those practices for how that happens. And I don't want to go into a lot of details about that, but I did want to say that just to clarify that part of things, sharing my own experience along with these messages. Oh, and for the record too, that part about organic foods, I'm not trying to tell you that Spirit says you have to go vegetarian, just that whatever changes you're making to your diet, you can do gradually and you're on the right track. So moving on to the tarot deck, we have the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa DeCourt. I so often think of this card as the Lover's Tarot. This deck, I almost call it that a lot because it has this playful, childlike energy of people that, and not just lovers, not just romantic lovers, but just people who are having fun, frolicking, not afraid to express love. And what was also so interesting today, I drew 3 cards. I've been working with this deck for several years. I think it's the first time ever that I didn't have jumpers, which what that's telling us with the energies coming through, I feel like many of us are completing a significant phase or as many as 3 phases during this 3-month period of May, June, and July. So during the months of May, June, and July of 26, we are completing some very significant phases in life. And that means we're sort of growing up, right? Our souls are maturing, advancing. We're completing lessons. And not that we aren't still going to be playful, childlike, but I think that what that energy is representing today is that we've matured a bit. And we had that, what's interesting is we just had that message a few minutes ago about rediscovering parts of our inner child, because often growing up, what we don't realize, many of us, especially if you come from a dysfunctional family system, or you've been in a toxic workplace, or just you've dealt with any kind of a dysfunctional, traumatic, anything, we often don't realize the parts of ourselves we may have put aside, or the way we have changed. And it's not necessarily that who we are as a deep soul is this person who's acting out of trauma. And so, interestingly, with this message about maturing and becoming more adults, there's this aspect of also reconnecting with your inner child in order to do that, because you've got to become whole to become more mature, right? You can't heal what you're not acknowledging. So that's a very powerful womp of a message. Those of you that are in therapy, amazing job. I feel like a few of you might be wondering if your current therapist is the right one and thinking, maybe I need another one. Go and meet someone else and see if that person might be a better fit for you. If you're wondering, if you're kind of sitting thinking, maybe this isn't the best fit for me, right? Not all therapists are the same. Some of them are just really great working with certain people, certain issues, and it's okay to look around and make sure you find the one that really gets you and really can help you with what you're dealing with, right? So keeping those things in mind, we have the Ace of Swords reversed. This is a beginning, and we often, with the Suit of Swords, we have kind of like messages that come through blunt, and it's not always what we want to hear, but we need to hear it. And so with this reversal, for many of you, this might not be the exact time to start something you're thinking about starting, but the time will come. In this case, that's what that reversal means. This almost looks like a crown, the way I'm looking at it. I'm going to turn this upright. And that message is just coming through again. Some of you are thinking of starting something or advancing something. It may be that right now isn't, especially if you're hearing this video when it comes out, which is June 22nd, 2026. These messages are, as always, timeless. But for some of you, I feel like the end of summer, fall, might be the perfect time to start something. For some of you, it's going to be just after the new year. You're going to know, but just, I think a lot of you have so many visions, so many ideas, and just know that it's okay if you're not ready to launch everything at once, or maybe you need more time before you do something. So the Ace of Swords is really coming through to confirm that for you. Summer, as adults, we forget to have more fun. We have daylight, more energy. Spirit really wants you to have fun right now. Second card is going to be, again, interesting, the Magician reversed. Reversals, when I read, aren't negative. They often just have a deeper or a little bit different meaning from what we think of as the upright meaning. So the Magician upright is usually telling us, hey, get moving on something. You have everything you need, even if you don't think you do. Again, confirming our message with the Ace of Swords. Although, let me talk about that. That came out of my mouth. But it just means that a little more time is needed. Certain factors maybe that you can't see need to align. But trust your visions and trust what you want for your life. Trust your goals and trust your visions for your life. Let's see what the third card is. Interesting. But before we get to it, it's the Queen of Wands, which is really positive. Oops. But before we get to that, I just want to say, because the word Eight of Swords started to pop out of my mouth here, the Eight of Swords, I guess we don't need it for me to deliver this message. And that's why it didn't come up, by the way. Some of you might be feeling kind of stuck. I don't know if the right word is helpless. It might be for some of you, but probably not the best word. But to clarify this a little bit, some of you might be feeling like you know that there are things you want to accomplish and that you want to do, and there are certain ways you really want your life to look, and right now it just doesn't. And you also might be feeling like, I feel like I should be doing more to make this happen, but Spirit is saying that at the moment you are doing everything you can. The best thing you can do is rest, have fun. Doesn't mean you're not working, still work, but also keep trusting your visions for how you want your life to progress, and you will make that happen. And so I think that's why we don't have the Eight of Swords, because sometimes when we have the Eight of Swords come up, it could be that feeling of being stuck, but a person not realizing that they could take a simple action to change their situation. Again, I don't think the reason we don't have that card is that you are at the moment doing everything within your power. And I think the Queen of Wands here is confirming that. And I want to look at this vision. I have a message here. Okay, this may look, because when I first saw this, it only looked like this person was going to strike this animal with that fire, but that's not actually what's happening. What's happening, they're saying, this person's doing sort of a powerful manifesting posture, or like a dance, and the animal's helping them. The animal trusts them. So you have the message of strength, kind of like the Strength card, where if you're calm and you're in tune, all the forces around you work with you, including the animals. The Queen of Wands is a powerful manifester. Again, we have this message that sometimes things just take time to incubate. So just give time. And flex your creative wings right now. And sometimes that just means that you might do a lot of writing on your ideas. You might do a lot of visioning. Maybe you create a vision board. Whatever ways you can find in your life to flex your creative muscles. For some of us, that might mean playing an instrument, singing, anything that helps open your sacral chakra. And I think that's it. I think those are the messages those are the messages that Spirit has for us today. I hope this is helpful. If it is, give this video a like, maybe leave a comment. Also, the 20% off sale I'm running on readings is still going. So if you've been thinking about grabbing a reading, now is a great time. Just go to my website, heatherlcoleman.com. We'll get you all set up. Other than that, everybody, have a beautiful week, and namaste.